Ask Reddit, who is a celebrity you lost all respect for? Meg Ryan, also on the set of In the Cut. I worked on it for 2 weeks and we were all told not to make eye contact with her. About a week in, a woman was walking by and started to tell Meg how much she loved her. Meg starts snapping her fingers off toward the distance. Her assistant comes running and literally opens a huge golf umbrella in the lady's face so Meg could walk the other way. Seemed like they had practiced this move. UK, London. Here, used to work in a high-end Sea-Tail bar cinema in a posh area of London. We had a share of celebrities. The worst, Kendall Jenner, did not know the word thank you or please and verbally abused one of the staff members saying things like this is why you earn $2 an hour. Peter Jackson refused to move for a staff member carrying a drink at seat service in the cinema screen, and when the poor 18-year-old tripped and spilled the slightest drop, complained to the manager, me, and wanted the kid fired. Vanessa Feltz, probably only known in the UK, kicked off because the staff member didn't know who she was and said as she reviewed films for The Sun, the British tabloid, that it would be beneficial for us to give her free ice cream. When we pointed out that it made no difference to us if she liked Star Wars or not, she threw a temper tantrum. However, they aren't all bad. Nicholas Hoult, super down-to-earth and low-key, tipped the bartender £20. Emma Watson, much the same as above, never made a fuss. Also would happily chat with the staff about anything and everything. Jude Law, ordered at the bar like everyone else but was getting hassled by some fans, so when I told him to go take a seat and I'd bring his drinks over, he was so thankful and apologetic. He tipped well and chatted for a bit about how the service industry can be so tough. Clive Owen, one of the most polite people I've ever served. Billy Crystal, he kicked me out of my seats at a Lewis Black stand-up show. Literally stood over me and was like, "These are my seats." I sort of laughed at him, had my tickets in hand, double-checked they were correct and was like, "Sorry, I'm in the correct seat." He stood there and insisted, "No, these are mine, you gotta go." Lewis had started, and I didn't want to cause a scene, so we got up and walked over to the aisle and the usher goes, "Ugh, he's been so difficult tonight." They gave us box seats, still good, but we had like third-row seats in the center. Can't watch City Slickers or Monsters Incorporated without hating on him. LOL. Wendy Williams, made fun of victims of murder, sexual assault, encouraged a woman to trick her husband into having another child, etc. Barbara Walters, she used to get some of the biggest interviews in the world and was well respected. Then The View happened. And then total respect was lost when she pushed back on Corey Feldman for outing how rampant sexual assault was in Hollywood. Now in hindsight we find out Barbara Walters was in Jeffrey Epstein's circle of friends and was certainly aware, if not worse. Bill Cosby. He was America's dad. Gwen Paltrow. Goop is so anti-science, I just hate everything. Any Scientologist. I pity some of them, but OMG, what an awful org. Every time I find out they're Scientologists, can't do it. Those people should be in prison. Butch Hartman, love his work, but the guy is totally effing nuts. Ian Watkins, the singer of Lost Prophets. Why? He likes to diddle kids. As a kid I liked the Dr. Oz show, but I lost all respect after finding out he was actually just a ego-blown nuthead, who claims to be America's doctor, but he didn't even vaccinate his own kids. Roman Polanski won a couple Academy Awards even though he's been a fugitive in the US for over 40 years for drugging and raping a 13-year-old and has been accused of similar predatory behavior by women he's worked with. R. Kelly. I loved listening to his music when I was younger, but hearing all of these stories about how he is basically a predator to underage girls is very unsettling. The fact we even married a girl who wasn't even of legal age was gross. Chris Brown after he beat up Rihanna. I could never listen to his music after that. I'm actually surprised he is still relevant and making music. James Corden. Used to think he was slightly funny a long time ago, then realized he is a massive C. I honestly don't like Ellen DeGeneres because she likes to make fun of younger people that don't know how to do certain things. A YouTuber I lost all respect for is Mini Lad. Turns out Mini Lad likes to play with mini lads. Jared Leto after all the shit he pulled on the Suicide Squad set. I like to think his conduct is mostly the reason he got edited out of 90% of the movie, although the director won't cop to that. Chris Brown, stop reading women. Chevy Chase, never really a fan of him pre-Community, but I at least respected him for putting in the work. But after hearing how much of a D-bag and how difficult to work with made me lose that respect. Danny Masterson. Tom Cruise. He knows what happened to Shelley Miscavige and he benefits from free labor of Scientology members, people who are forced to work without pay. Ben Stiller. Heard a few stories about him being a complete arsehole. Heard he got one of the film set crew members fired for not getting him a coffee even though it wasn't his job or something like that. Heard he also doesn't like people looking at him and will give people shit about it. What do you expect, you're famous, you effing womble. Oprah Winfrey. She ran a competition to be the host on an episode of her show. The guy that won is in a wheelchair. Oprah's actual comment was, "I don't want a cripple running my show." Turns out she's one of those nutcases that thinks disability equals punishment from God. You know. All those kids with cancer that are just so gosh darn evil. But she actively hates people in wheelchairs. I mean, deep down loathing and wanting them all to die. Shia LaBeouf. I used to be a Shia stan. Like, I almost drove 2 hours to pick him up when he was road tripping. I endlessly called his art experiment where he would just answer the phone and say nothing. I went to the Honey Boy premiere and pitched it to all of my friends. I wished him all the happiness in the world. Supported all his strange little projects. Defended him against people BC of his addiction. Only to find out that he's abused every one of his girlfriends. It's disgusting to think that he would treat women that way. But having suffered abusive relationships before and seeing myself in these women, who are my age and share my interests, women I looked up to before they even dated him. He is particularly sickening to me. I know exactly what type of person he is because I've gotten just as fed by them too. Even worse is how all of his work reflects how deeply toxic he is. I hate to see everyone scrambling over pieces of a woman, as if I could ignore that he plays the exact sort of emotionally abusive asshole that he is in real life. He blames everything on his trauma. But guess what? I also had a shitty upbringing, but I don't threaten to kill my girlfriends. Effing asshole. If you feel similarly, you might be interested in the story Sorry Doesn't Sweeten Her Tea in Helen Oyemi's collection. What's not yours is not yours. It's about a dad whose stepdaughter has to come to terms with the fact that her favorite singer beat up his lover. Kevin Spacey. Amber Heard. Fuck Amber Heard. Edit. Thank you so much for the awards. Elon Musk. When he called that diver that didn't like his submarine idea pedophile, even though it was objectively one of the funniest things I've ever heard. Thank you for watching. Daily uploads.